Hello guys, welcome back to Vive la France, playing as the French Republic for now with the Kaiserreich mod. So, let's see what happens if we become Action François, French action, or we will remain as paternal autocrats. Okay. Things so far are moving towards but François, Action Francois, or how you say it. There's no description here. The 400 blows. That's odd. Lag, make lag. Here? No. Ugh, this stuff here. So, if we become nationalist populists, we'll get this stuff over here. Restoration. Okay. Classicism. Exalt the aristocrat. The aristocracy. Okay. Whoops, here we go. Pause. Action Algérienne. Founded in the 20s by Fahad Abbas in the chaos of the exile, calling itself the principal media outlet of the integral nationalism alongside the main Action François, Action Algérienne has become one of the most popular newspapers within the Algerian departments. Its slogan, "From colony to province," summarizes its fight alongside integralist principles, assimilation within a greater France, while still retaining privileges, traditions and local laws against the centralization and disregard for the indigenous customs of the Republic. Demanding native autonomy in social and economic regulation, universal suffrage in municipal elections, and for native notables to constitute an assembly advising the French government. Abbas has quickly found resonance among natives, particularly the assimilated elites and the influential indigenous chiefs eager to defend their way of life against an ever-encroaching republican government. However, the localist proposals of the action is not the only thing that has found resonance among natives. Its anti-Semitic rhetoric is also proving popular. Legacy of the Crémieux Decree, a law that granted full French citizenship to the Jewish population of French Algeria, but not to the Arab and Berber Muslim population, remain to this day essentially second-class citizens. This wedge between communities that has lived together in relative peace for centuries has proven easy to exploit for the far right, as some groups and parties even promised to repeal the decree to gain support from natives, either out of genuine ideological convergence or simply out of pragmatism, as they know that nothing could be achieved without the support or at least the neutrality of the indigees. Nationalists united against the Republic can't be good. All that text from 1%. Oh well, it gives a good I don't mind all this text, it's just when you are doing Let's Play, it's a lot of text. But, oh well. Fête de la Région. On this 14th of July, we celebrate our national day, military parades, as well as public street celebrations as fireworks are planned all across France. Enjoy a celebration of the greatness of our nation. For long, what is even celebrated on this day has been a topic of heated debate between left and right. The left would insist that this is the day celebrating the 1789 storming of the Bastille Fortress, a Parisian royal prison and armory, while it considered at the starting point of the French revolutions, while the right would on the contrary consider this a day commemorating the Fête de la Fédération, a massive holiday festival that took place across France a year later to celebrate the unity of the French nation, and an end of the political struggle, of the revolution itself. History proved that hope wrong, but this hasn't stopped the debate from arising every year. The 1880 law institution, the National Day of the 14th of July, simply abstains from taking a side, but thankfully we have since put the controversy to rest, as an amendment voted by the Assembly some years ago has clarified that we are indeed commemorating the festival of the Federation today. Either way, let's enjoy ourselves. Yes? Enjoy. Phase 1. Phase 2. Queen of the battlefield. Sweet. I need the goddamn radio. Oh, the railroad. Okay. Oh, here we have to... Okay. I see. Can't do that yet. Yet. feel like army is more important. Colonial Special Force. A colonial force, familiarly called La Coloniale, made up of mostly Frenchmen and usually the first to be deployed overseas, was decimated in the Weltkrieg. But they spearheaded last century's conquests, and their proud tradition is very much alive. With some reorganization and recruitment effort, they will one day be the first to land on the beaches of mainland France. Replace Queen of the Battlefield with modern colonial force. More recruit will pop. Special forces becomes better, but also takes longer time to train. Alright. Fine. More recruit will pop. Oh, here we go. Whatever the 400 blows is. The deal made with the Action Française took effect immediately. The party's paper changed its stance on the regime, and the monarchist officers and soldiers participating in the parade simply stopped showing up. Using its... Isn't it... This is wrong. This means it is. So you can say using it is vast network. It's ITS without the apostrophe, or whatever it's called. Vast network of influence in the upper classes and the armed forces. The party has managed to soothe some of the dissent coming from there, and the Gamelot du Roi now show up every day to push back against the protest and secure key areas, not showing the same hesitation as the regular forces to fight those still parading, and not having care for the regulations or avoiding injuries. It would seem like the regime can breathe a great sigh of relief as Mordaunt movement is now far less ascendant. However, part of the loss of ground for the Democrat camp is due to the brutal tactics of the more radical elements of the French action, who have organized themselves in a highly structured, secretive and independent group to take direct action against the Bear supporters, with little to no oversight by the party and none from the government. Intimidation, assassination, even bombings in the last few weeks, it seems nothing is too far for them to take down the Democratic camp. Nicknamed the organization des Quadres Cubes, the 400 blows organization, or less literally organization to raise hell. It is impossible to deny that they have been incredibly effective in suppressing our opponent, but the Lion himself is quietly horrified by the terroristic nature of the group. This is going on too far. Let's end the deal. We cannot stoop this low. We have no choice. This is all for the salvation of France. Fine. Goodbye, Patong. I wonder if we can have civil war or something. That would suck. Did you finish this? No, 10 days. Railroad. Dakar-Niger Railway strike. A strike has been spreading among the native workers along the Dakar-Niger Railway. They are demanding better conditions and even pay, with their white French counterparts in Algeria. This strike punches hard into the gut of the French West Africa, as this railway is one of the main routes into the interior of the continent from Senegal. We can earn their favor by agreeing to their demands for equality, or we can wait them out and see how long time they can last before returning to work. Improve their conditions. Political power minus 50. Oh. No. Ugh. Try that. Damn it. God damn it. Blah. Need this resistance down. On pause. Also do a people let's play as well. Could be fun. A new king in Poland. Well done. Did they change this? Holy War. Call of the Faithful. The Senate and the Kingdom of Rome. Can you like do a Kingdom of God thing? Oh, Siam. Legionary Spirit. Made up Rome. The Beauvert Rebellion. I don't think that's something to do with me. No, over here I guess. Maybe. Parliamentary. Oh. Whoa, what was that? Oh, Black Monday. Okay. Indochina. Excuse me. Fighting against the German colonizers. Oh, we're losing. Oh. Great. How the hell? Jesus Christ. La Jurée Zangaland. Between the wave of terrorist violence against the democratic faction and the presence of the increasingly aggressive Camelots on the outskirts of the parades, tensions were running high. One day, some soldiers had brought their service weapons, pretexting a need for self-defense. The next Camelot themselves were armed, and in reaction to this, both police and military deployed to maintain order brought out heavy weaponry. Furthermore, while the violence against Monarch partisans had intimidated many, it also brought them much sympathy from the general public, and as such, more and more civilians took part in the parades. What had started as a rather absurd display of anger by the Grand Mute was now a daily tense standoff from sunrise to sundown, with occasional brawls between the protesters and Camelots. Miraculously, despite the numerous injuries sustained in the daily brawls, no deaths had occurred in the parades. That is, until today, as one of the usual fights broke out between protesters and Camelots, a shot rang out, followed by a cry of pain. No one knows who fired it or where it came from, but after a split second of shocked silence, there was chaos. More and more gunshots came from each side, and with each one, protesters, Camelots, police, and military fell to the ground. Some wounded, some dead. Initially overwhelmed, the regime forces quickly regained their composure. The sight of the dead comrades shedding any feelings of hesitation they might have had towards fighting against fellow soldiers. Things quickly turned to street fighting, with barricades being hastily constructed by protesters engaging in what they can only be described as a fighting retreat. Most of them being active duty soldiers or veterans. There was certainly confusion, but no panic. Though they had been pushed back to the littoral, the protesters remain in firm control of much of the center of Algiers as the government forces await further orders. Call for meeting. We need to find a way to resolve this situation. Oh boy. How could you? Pause. Democratie. The strategy meeting had gone on for hours, and it was already evening. Deeply shocked by the events unfolding, Marshal Pétain has dismissed all proposals from the military, the police, ministers, advisors, even his protégé Charles de Gaulle, considering them all risking too many lives. Talks with the protesters had gone nowhere, and the lack of central leadership among them would make any consensus impossible anyway. A tense silence had fallen in the conference room in the presidential palace, broken only by the sound of the occasional gunshots. Then news came. The protesters had seized heavy machine guns and chosen to fall back further and fortify a large plaza where a field hospital has been set up. An assault would be extremely costly, and everyone in the room knew it. And then, quietly, almost a whisper, shell them. A young Navy officer had broken the silence and continued, "We should shell them. The Liberty-class dreadnought Democratie is anchored a few miles from Algiers. He waited till nightfall and ordered them to shell the plaza. It will create enough confusion to storm the camp while minimizing damage to the city and losses for our forces. They expected an assault from land, certainly not from the sea." After a few seconds of silence, the line of Verdun angrily stood up, but before he could speak, Charles de Gaulle de Rooster intervened. "I'm afraid we have no choice here. If we let the situation fester, we could wake up tomorrow morning to a general insurrection. We must nip this revolution in the bud and act fast. I'm sorry, Marshal, but now is the time for action, not debate." And so, as Philippe Pétain fell silent, the order was given. Boom, shakalaka. Nuke them from orbit. Because I need political power. I need stability. God damn it. Shit. I need political power. So, did you shell them? No? Yes, you did. Lilindamain. Massacre, bloodbath. This is how the foreign press described the event of Algiers. The proposed strategy was indeed incredibly effective, and as soon as the first shell hit, the protesters abandoned any kind of organized defense and fled in all directions, only to run into our forces assaulting the plaza, where they either immediately surrendered or were probably dealt with. Tangles of mangled bodies, or of brutal treatment of prisoners, of summary executions are being spread by Communard agents. But the nation knows the truth. The next morning, the front page of all newspapers read, "Attempted coup bravely defeated." The threat posed by these red traitors has finally been dealt with. The few remaining so-called Democrats are now either in custody awaiting trial for their crimes, in hiding, though they will be fined sooner or later, or they lie dead in the mass grave, slowly filling up as the plaza is being cleaned up. Henri Mordaunt, or what is left of his body, was found and identified by his uniform. Oh, the bear himself is dead. We can now breathe a sigh of relief. Marshal Pétain is Marshal Pétain is however deeply affected by what happened and has not left the president's palace since, refusing to see anyone other than his wife and his confessor, only occasionally wandering outside of his quarters, mumbling to himself. As such, Charles de Gaulle has unofficially stepped in to help run the government affairs for the time being. After all, who better than the Lion's protege to make sure things go smoothly in these critical times? Having been promoted to the rank of general by his bravery and skill dealing with the crisis, France's stability is now on the utmost priority of the Rooster. And such, he has launched a new scale investigation to find and bring justice any and all of those who might have been involved in the attempted coup. Much remains to be done, but all those who would dare endanger the patrie in these critical times are now warned. No longer will their traitorous behavior be tolerated. Thankfully, the Marshal can count on de Gaulle's loyalty. Remove. Took. Yes, totally. Head of government. Interesting. Landford. Jord Lamira. That's a pretty crappy officer. Nationalist leaflets in Tunis. We won't fight for the Frenchmen. Tunisians only fight for themselves. This is one of the sentences written on leaflets found everywhere in the public districts of Tunis. It seemed that the underground nationalist Disteur body has once again swarmed workplaces and markets with their harmful propaganda. We remove these leaflets as usual and as soon as possible to prevent these ideas from spreading even more. God damn it. Oh, okay. I thought you were in it. Well, you are now, for sure. Are we getting a new tech soon? 17 days, okay. But this is only 10 days, bloody hell. Oh, pause. A step back towards absolute monarchy, okay. Air. Navy. Navy's also good. Preparing our return. General Estienne legacy. General Jean Anstey brought critical innovations to the French army, pioneering aerial reconnaissance after the exile organization, in-depth exploration of the Sahara. But most importantly, he was the first to recognize the potential of tanks and theorize their tactical and strategic use. He has brought us so close to victory in the Weltkrieg. His legacy lives on in our forces today. National spirit, General Estienne, grant armor research plus 10%. Oh, nice. Give me that armor. Jabal Shamar. Here we go. Niche and Hassa. So many wars. Indochina, unification, Kumul. Kumul, yeah, somewhere in China, I think. Oh, here. The clique. And the Khanate. Oh, being attacked from the sides. The de Gaulle government. After months of turmoil, of plotting and violence against the enemies of the nation, it seems that things are finally looking up for France. Having formed the new government, Charles de Gaulle, now president of the Council of Ministers, is finally able to start dealing with much of the rot that set in the administration and the armed forces. Corrupt plutocrats and sycophants having taken advantage of the aging marshal, suspecting communist agents, Modak sympathizers, and generally those setting back national interest are being dealt with, arrested, judged by special courts, kangaroo courts, and either put down or imprisoned. Though we could have feared instability after the marshal's temporary condition had been made public, de Gaulle's energetic guidance, his status as a respected war hero, as protégé of Pétain, and his own personal prestige alleviate the fears of many. The sheer scale of the corruption has been dutifully reported by the media, and each day a new arrest, a new scandal shocks our people, who finally truly understands this truth. Just as the Rooster had described it in La Discorde, the worst threat facing us does not come from the outside our borders, but from within. The defeats, the struggles, the sacrifices now all make sense. Our efforts had been sabotaged, wasted by inside forces. However, our efforts are finally once and for all deal with the parasites plaguing the patrie, still being restricted by petty liberal concerns, and de Gaulle realizes that extraordinary measures must be taken to ensure the salvation of France. As such, he has come to Philippe Pétain with a proposal for the Lion of Verdun to resign as president of the French Republic to enjoy a glorious retirement and be able to care for his clearly ailing health, and for a motion to be presented in front of the National Assembly granting the government full powers to create and promulgate a new constitution, better suited to defend national interests. Of course, the final decision is for the Marshal to take. Of course. No. Yes, of course, de Gaulle knows best, and it's best time for the Lion to proudly retire. Boop. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Humanism integral. Integral humanism. Temporal and spiritual problems of a new Christianity. The recently published work of influential Catholic philosopher Jacques Maritain has caused passionate debate among Catholics. A convert from Protestantism, once close to the action Francois, despite not being a monarchist. Most out of suspicion towards representative democracy and opposition to the anti-clerical policies of the Third Republic. Maritain has drifted after the shock of the exile towards more moderate positions closer to the personalist movement and Christian democracy, rejecting both reaction and liberalism, secularism, and intransigent political Catholicism, embracing humanism, arguing for human rights, the importance of family, pluralistic democracy, and responsibility towards the common good, all in the spirit of the social teaching of the Church. The philosopher is somewhat going against the grain. Indeed, much of the French Catholic laity, what the hell is that word? Laity? And hierarchy has been radicalized by the current situation. The AF has even denounced integral humanism as the work of a traitor, has set out to democratism a red saboteur. However, among more progressive Catholics, Maritain's work was very well received, raising praise from the Father Montini, a close advisor to the Pope, and with some moderates even being drawn away from the action Francois, heeding his warning that the movement is merely using the faith as a tool to further the political ideology. A new kind of integralism, huh? Alright. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. I wonder if I will get thrown out of the Entente if I go nationalist populist. Maybe they don't care. They just want their land back. The Men in Green. The Communards have announced a program to transform culture and entertainment, the so-called the avant-garde thing. I don't care about that. Give me some more support. We did play as Commune of France before. Oh, here I want... what was it? Radio. Le Chant du Coq. A new dawn is rising on France. The Lion himself had come to make a speech in front of the National Assembly. Broadcast on radio, citing his old age and ailing health, the tired Pétain announces his retirement. Then proceeded to thank all those that supported him in the troubled times since the Grande Guerre. In particular veterans, making less than subtle references to Charles de Gaulle. His closing statement calling for peaceful transition of power and reaffirming his full trust in de Gaulle to guide the nation in these troubled times, and in the people to continue the fight to retake the metropole. Marshal Pétain ended his speech with a simple phrase quoted from his iconic orders so many years ago at Verdun. Courage, on l'est, on y are. Be strong, we'll get him. As the applause died down, a voice resonated. Maréchal, merci. Marshal, thank you. A breach of protocol that all in the room immediately happily imitated. Outside the building, the population had spontaneously come together to say goodbye to the savior of France, regardless of class and status, thanking Philippe Pétain as he was leaving on foot, as all the anger, all the fears of the past few weeks and the years of at least momentarily disappeared. Pétain himself, usually so stoic, looked emotional and strangely enough relieved. After a short break, a deputé, known supporter of the Action Française, rose to deliver a clearly well-rehearsed speech detailing the extent of the corruption recently unveiled and reminding his fellow congressmen of the orgy of violence that engulfed the nation, finally calling for extraordinary powers to be given to the de Gaulle government to be able to truly reform the patrie. The assembly having been cleansed from much of the rot that has set since the exile, this too was met with thunderous applause, and a motion was quickly put together. Adieu, Badieu, et vive de Gaulle. Will power up, okay. Stability up, Publishing. Boop. Oh, he stopped being a marshal. Do I have anyone left? Well, the girl, I guess. No, he's still here. Okay. Ah. Shit. Oh, can I use those 10 points? No. Oh, send troops by rail between Algiers and... okay, so it does make some kind of... I see. It must be these lines here. Right? I think so. Excavation? Sure. Look. Conqueror Kankan railway sabotaged. A new train wreck near Kankan reached the headlines of the local papers in French Guinea. An investigation into the incident had given only the slightest evidence of how the situation occurred. Several sections of the tracks were hammered out of alignment, causing the train to derail and crash. While there were not deaths reported from the incident due to the first train passing being a relative skeleton crew-manned cargo train, most of the cargo was still too damaged to make it to the destination. It seems this section of track is a usual target for the local Guinean terrorists and resistance. We can expect more actions of this sort to happen. We will rebuild. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. L'artillerie. Yes. God damn it. Compliance. Resurrection. The National Assembly gives full power to the government of the Republic under the authority of the Gaul to promulgate by one or more acts a new constitution of the French state. By this simple motion adopted unanimously, I can't speak. Unanimously. No, that's not how you say it, but oh well. The destiny of France has changed for the better. Everywhere, the enemies of France still lurked, and Charles de Gaulle, finally given the tools to save France, continued the work already started to cleanse the nation. Everywhere he looked, more and more evidence of the incredible deep rot affecting the République came to light. Make France great again. Tasked with saving France, the general has come to a simple conclusion, that today he exposed in a speech in front of the Senate. Trusted with the arduous task of guiding the nation in these hazardous times, I must put the patrie above all, above my personal feelings, above petty convictions, above divisions. As such, I have come to the conclusion that a system born in the fires of revolution cannot extinguish the fire of another, and that any constitution my government could put together couldn't be enough to ensure the safety and future of our nation. As such, as chief of the state of the British Republic, with the power granted to me by the people, I hereby declare that to ensure the salvation of France, we should look towards the fundamental laws that governed our nation and made her glory since time immemorial, the laws of the kingdom. As such, for the good of France and her people, as a subject, I hereby humbly ask Monseigneur the Duc de Guise, heir of 40 kings, who over millennia made France, to seize the crown and guide us towards the resurrection, the renewal of France. Truth is, no one was surprised by this speech. Neither the parliamentarisms nor the people in General de Gaulle sympathizers for the monarchy and the royalist action Francois, were no secret, and forces loyal to the regime and the AF, the media, the church, and armed forces had worked tirelessly to cement the idea of restoration into public consciousness. The defeat and the revolution had already severely damaged the image of the Republic. Recent events made sure few were still truly attached to her. The senators gave de Gaulle a long-standing ovation, named him Lieutenant General of the Reborn Kingdom, regent in other words. Before voting to dissolve the legislative chambers, spontaneous celebrations broke out in the streets all over the country, but for most people the predominant feeling is relief. Finally, the crisis that shook the nation for months is over. Vive le roi. Stability up. Political power plus 20. Political change. Action Francois becomes the ruling party. No public elections. Gain a bunch of dudes. Unrest down. Retires. Republic remnants. Well, vive le roi. Look. No, wait, what? That's not a... That's still a French Republic. The rooster. We still called Republic. Oh, boring. Deal with the Republic remnants, yes, but let's start on phase 2. Boop. First. Public humiliate. Okay. Interesting. Let's see how that works out. Excuse me. So I guess we got... Wait, what? Oh. Oh, it's down here now. I see. Oh, they removed the other ones. Ah, I see. I see. But we can't do this yet. Has complete focus restoration. Crowning ceremony is organized. Well, what the hell is that? I guess that's where we change name. Let's do this. France remains free from within her colonial territories. However, unrest is growing among the native population with the loss of the mainland. The French colonial empire is weaker than ever. Some natives see this as an opportunity to end once and for all the French subjugation of their people. We must reform the Code de l'Indignant. Modify stability up, construction speed down. Okay, so it's only -5 stability and construction speed is 2.5. Okay. Wow. The ulema. The Association des Oulémas Musulmans Algériens or Association of Algerian Muslims Ulema is a religion association founded in 1933 under the unofficial leadership of Abdelhamid bin Badis. This association of theologians, teachers and more general learned men has come to promote Islamic reform, hoping to bring Islam in Algeria to its pure original forms, away from the superstition fostered by the marabouts and the more mystical approach of the Sufi congregations. Taking inspiration from similar initiatives which found success in the Middle East or in Tunisia, many schools have already been created, teaching grammar, mathematics and religion to children, and theology, philosophy, history, as well as Islamic and French law to young adults, quickly becoming a major influence in mosques all over the region and attracting the suspicion of colonial authorities. Indeed, one of the stated goals of the association is to foster the Islamic identity of Algeria, to unite the people beyond the divide between Berbers and coastal Arabophone Algerians and beyond tribal boundaries. Though they stop short of advocating for independence, they strongly oppose assimilation, claiming that an Algerian nation does not exist, which could not have become French and does not want to be French. As such, they have already found themselves becoming an important player in the politics of the Algerian department. First, authorities unsuccessfully sought to co-opt the association, much like the rest of the Islamic clergy in the colonies, as banning the already powerful group would certainly create unrest. And then, two native groups came to seek the support of the ulema. The Action Algérien of Ferhat, which claims that should the Action Francois come to power, an autonomous Algerian identity could be fostered and traditional Islamic law could be fully restored, and the Étoile Nord-Afrique of Messali Haj, a syndicalist aligned underground group which advocates for the independence of Algeria with the support of the commune. So far, the association has not sided with either, skeptical of both the sincerity of the AF's promises of autonomy and the anti-clerical socialism advocates by the communards. Either way, they're probably trouble. Yeah, probably. 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 Okay. Crowning. When is the crowning? I have no idea. Oh. Alright, we can deal with these buggers. Public humiliation of the Republicans. Sure. For minor offenders such as journalists who eagerly defend the public or support their parades, or justly critics of Tigal's governments, a more educational approach will suffice. They will be forced to publicly disavow their previous writings and the UGs swear fealty to the new government, and then be sent safely on their way. Oh, Jesus Christ. Camelots knocking on the doors of prominent Republican intellectuals, journalists, public personalities, and taking them to the public square, sometimes dragging them, sometimes at gunpoint. These men are getting on their knees to renounce their traitorous beliefs, apologizing to the masses in well-rehearsed public apologies, sometimes manhandled either by the action's men or the crowd, and then sent on their way back home to obscurity, knowing full well their writing and their speeches will never be heard again by the people, but relieved they did not end like the last of the paradeurs, blown to pieces by the Democrats' cannons. This has become a common sight, and the crowd seems more eager to pin all their troubles on these traitors, sometimes more bloodthirsty than the most fanatic of the Camelots du Roi, and having to be held back from tearing them apart. This is enough. They have atoned for their sins, let them be. Vox populi, vox dei. Let the crowd do as it please. The crowd is right. We should deliver the right targets to them. Yeah. Do that. The middle ground. Le Today, the conclusions of the investigation into the events of the last few months have reached the desk of Lieutenant General of the Kingdom, Charles de Gaulle. From monetary support to mandat to helping his escape to encouraging the recent attempted coup, the results are incredibly damning for many among the old Republican establishment, and thousands are implicated, including many in the army, the Secret Service, and the administration. While they, of course, be promptly dealt with, some within the Action Francois advised taking advantage of the crisis to finally, once and for all, cleanse the French body of the strain of Republican condition, and take down the parasitic groups, dragging France down in one fell swoop. No need to rush, purge them all. Yes. We'll do our own purges like Stalin did in Russia. Nothing can go wrong by doing that. Surely. Right? Le Sacre. More than 110 years since there was a last royal coronation, France finally has a king once again. The ceremony was carefully organized to follow as closely as possible the millennium-old protocol, despite taking place in Saint Philippe Cathedral of Algiers instead of traditional coronation in Reims, which current circumstances would make difficult to organize. Much of the necessary ceremonial items, like the sword of Jujuer, said to have been the sword of Charlemagne, as well as the holy ampulla, glass vial holding anointed oil, said to have been given by the Holy Spirit for the baptism of Clovis, King of France, had been evacuated during the retreat from the mainland, and new regalia had been crafted by skilled artisans, particularly an ornate crown. After swearing oath to the scriptures to defend the church, maintain peace, fight injustice, be merciful and just, as well as to fight heresy, Jean d'Orléans was anointed in 9 spots in the shape of a cross with holy oil by the Archbishop of Algiers. Then was draped in a blue cloak sprinkled with gold, fleur-de-lis, given the scepter and the hand of justice, and finally crowned. Peers of the reborn kingdoms were fielded to His Majesty, and then a mass was said. This done, the king and the royal family headed out for their new residence, the former presidential palace of the heights of Algiers, cheered on the whole way by the numerous crowd. Public celebrations and banquets taking place went to late hours of the night. Some important details were altered in the ceremony. However, the king did not swear the traditional oath to fight infidels, and was instead given by the Mufti of Algiers a traditional Flisa sword representing his new status of Hami al-Islam, or protector of Islam. And among the peers swearing fealty to His Majesty were numerous Arab, Berber, and African chiefs in their traditional costumes, symbol of a new era of a French rule. If the Republic is dead, long live the kingdom. Okay. Jean III becomes leader of the authoritarian Democratic Party. I thought we were national populists. Oh, he becomes of the all of those three, right? And the old king, stability up, political power up, removal of head of government, gain Charles de Gaulle, head of government. Okay. Charles Maurras grants national philosophy, daily political power, root out resistance. Oh, nice. Le click. King of France. Voulez-vous? Oh damn, he's old. Resentment spreads to the lower classes of Senegal. Senegal is very clearly our most economically dynamic colony in West Africa. The large port of Dakar is supplied with mining resources from the Senegalese countryside, and with other goods coming from all over West Africa by railway. This rich export economy relies, however, on the deep divide between the merchant bourgeois of the city, composed of Frenchmen but also black evoluted, with the French citizenship and a vast working class. The most visible example being the dock workers of Dakar and the miners. In reality, the lower classes mostly work under the regime of forced labor called the colonial authorities, most notably to build infrastructure, The syndicalist society is also very stratified, and this is something the lower classes seem to be starting to realize. Murmurs of jealousy and questioning of the system have spread to the syndicalist working class. Why are the ones in the cast so rich while we struggle to live correctly? In Senegal, if Senegal is still far from being prone to revolt, a few strikes have already been put down in the last years, and this situation needs to be kept to scrutiny. Yes. Oh, crap. Could we have some good news soon? That would be swell. Do I want to just do all of this? Oh. Communards. Oh, you want me to train something? Oh, Jesus. Oh, for the Lord knows those that are his own. It is the trial of the century. Every day the audience are broadcast on radio for the entire nation to listen to, while many of the Algiers assemble outside the courthouse get to as close as possible to the action. However, since the names of those accused, was published and placarded everywhere, a new wave of violence has swept through the nation. Overzealous Camelots have been targeting the family and friends of those on trial, as well as more generally all and any open Republicans, with harassment and rapidly escalating violence. Yesterday it was jeers and insults, today beatings and property damage, but with the police rarely intervening, who knows where it will stop. The population, taking the frenzy of wanting to make those responsible for France's suffering pay, has started joining as well, often collectively proving more violent against the perceived enemies of the patrie than the most committed of the Camelots. Some are fleeing, others hope the collective wrath will simply pass, though it is quickly becoming uncontrollable. The political disagreement of yesterday have turned into blind rage, and some are even taking advantage of the general frenzy to settle personal feuds, either joining the mob or influencing it into going after personal enemies, or denouncing as liberals, as Modak sympathizers, as Republicans however slighted them. However, this orgy of violence could prove cathartic for people, as they can finally rest easy knowing that the enemy within will no longer hinder. Finally, the patrie can move forward, first by reforming herself, following our king's guidance, and then by setting her sights on the metropole, still reeling under communal depression. Whoa, base stability is down by 15, and anyone but national public goes down, I guess. Okay. My poor stability. Arrest. All rotten. Right, we need to cut. So, thank you much for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell button. Very much appreciate your support. And I hope I'll see you next time. Bye.